Hello everybody and welcome to another Mother's Day card tutorial. Today we're going to be painting this pansy flower Mother's Day card, so grab your supplies and let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is sketch out your flowers. So I'm going to be painting my pansies in an arrangement that is closest to the bottom left corner. So I have the largest pansy that is closest to the corner, and then I have two of them on either side of that original flower. And when you're sketching it out with your pencil, you first want to create a windmill shape with 3 petals and then add a 4th petal sort of on the top. And once you have that sketched out, you can actually begin painting the pansies. So the first thing you want to do is fill in the 3 windmill petals with a very washed out color. So I'm going for a pinkish, reddish, magenta flower pansy here. So I filled in the background of my petals with a very light pink color, and while that was still wet, I went ahead and I added some darker accent color highlights. So I took sort of a dark magenta that wasn't as watered down, and I just went over the edges of the 3 petals as well as the center of the 3 petals and allowed that pigment to naturally bleed into the rest of the flower. While that was still drying, I went ahead with my second flower. So again, I am filling in those 3 windmill petals with my base color. So this one is going to be more of an orangey reddish flower, and so I just filled those in with my base color that was super washed out, but while it was still wet, and that's really important that it is still wet, I took my highlight color, so I think I used orange and a little bit of red as well, and I just filled in, or rather painted the edges of my 3 petals and the center of the 3 petals, and then allowed that pigment to naturally spread out. You can see that I'm adding a little bit of red highlight as well because I wanted that flower to have a little bit more variation. The orangish yellow color that I was using wasn't popping as much as I wanted it to, so that's why I added the extra red there. I also went ahead and added a little bit of black in the center, but that's not necessary. Again, I just wanted it to pop a bit more. So once your 3 windmill petals have dried, you want to fill in your accent petal with basically your original accent color. So I took sort of a magenta pinkish color that was not as watered down, and I just filled that 4th petal in with a solid color. We're not really using the bleeding or blending technique here, we're just filling it in. And we're doing the same thing with that second flower, so I took sort of a pinkish, orangish, reddish color here, and I'm filling that 4th petal in with that color. By the way, if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to paint pansies, I did release one that was specifically dedicated to how to paint these flowers. I will link that tutorial in the description if you want to check it out before trying out this card. So I'm just painting my my 3rd blue pansy there. I sped it up because I think you pretty much got the point after the first 2, so I just sped up that blue one. But you can see me here adding some accent highlights to the flowers. So I basically took the accent colors for both flowers, so magenta and orange for that second one, and blue for the 3rd one, and I went over the edges of the flowers, and because there was very little water, the pigment was very, very opaque, and it helped the flowers really stand out. I also took a super thin brush. I took my quadruple 0 Winsor & Newton brush, and I used black to create these hairline thick lines coming from the center of my flowers. I also used that brush to add some more accents to the edges of the petals by just dotting random dots in the middle and towards the end of the petals as well. Once you are happy with your pansies, you can go ahead and start painting the remaining details of your card. So we're going to be filling in some of the other spaces with easier colors, or not colors, sorry, easier flowers. So here I'm using one of my favorite flowers to paint. It's the one where you just dot 3 or 4 pigmented dots in wherever you want the center of your flower to be, and then you take a brush that is dipped in water and you just spread out that pigment, allowing the center to bleed out into the rest of the petal, and it creates this beautiful yet delicate flower pattern. So that's what I'm just creating or painting on in the remaining spaces of my little flower arrangement. And I'm trying to use different colors to make it a little bit more, add a little bit more variation. But I think what really completes this card is adding green leaves to all of the random spaces around the flower arrangement. So here I just took you can use any color of green, and I'm just creating these wavy leaves coming from the spaces in my flower arrangement that are sort of empty. So wherever 2 flowers connect, you can just add a bunch of these green leaves, and it will really make this flower arrangement come together. It actually kind of gives off this Hawaiian vibe to me, which is not what I was going for, but I mean, it's a Mother's Day card, so any flower will work, or any flower arrangement will work for this particular holiday. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I do release 2 videos every single week, tutorials ranging from flowers to fruits to primarily, nature and tree oriented paintings. So if you're enjoying this and you're gaining some sort of value, then do subscribe, and also consider liking this video because it does help me grow my channel. It tells YouTube that people are engaging with my videos, and therefore they will recommend them to more people. Once you are happy with your flower arrangement and it is completely dry, you can go ahead and add your Mother's Day greeting. I just wrote Happy Mother's Day. I made sure to pencil it in first so that I didn't make any mistakes before going over it with a fine tip marker. And we are all finished. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out some of my other Mother's Day tutorials.